My name is Spade, Sam Spade. License number 357346. Issued by the Police Department of San Francisco. Occupation, private detective. Sometimes known as Private Eye. My files on the Maltese Falcon are closed, but I'll tell you about it.
Sam! Oh, Sam!
Yes, sweetheart?
There's a girl here to see you. Her name's Wonderly.
A customer?
Oh, I guess so, but you'll want to see her anyway, Sam. She's a knockout.
Show her in, darling. Show her in.
Won't you come in, Miss Wonderly? Thank you.
Come in, Miss Wonderly.
Thank you.
Won't you sit down? Now, what can I do for you, Miss Wonderly?
Could you? I thought, well, that is,
Suppose you tell me about it from the beginning, and then we'll know what needs doing. Better begin as far back as you can.
Well, that was in New York.
Yes?
I don't know where she met him. I mean, I don't know where in New York. She's 5 years younger than I, only 17. And while we didn't have the same friends, I don't suppose that we've ever been as close as sisters should be. Well, Mama and Papa are in Europe. It would kill them. I've got to get her back before they come home.
Yeah.
But they're coming home at the first of the month.
Then wait 2 weeks.
I didn't know what she had done until her letter came. I was frantic. I was too afraid she had done something like this to go to the police. And the fear that something had happened to her kept urging me to go. There was no one I could go to for advice. I didn't know what to do. What could I do?
Why, nothing, of course. But then her letter came?
Yes, and I sent her a telegram asking her to come home. I sent it to General Delivery here. Well, that was the only address that she gave me. I waited a whole week, but no answer came. Not another word from her. And with Mama and Papa's return drawing nearer and nearer, so I came to San Francisco to get her. I wrote her that I was coming. Oh, I shouldn't have done that, should I?
Maybe not. It's not always easy to know what to do. You haven't found her yet?
No, I haven't. I wrote her that I would go to the St. Mark and begged her to come and let me talk with her, even if she didn't intend to come home with me. But she didn't come. I waited 3 days and she didn't come. Didn't even send me a message of any sort. It was horrible. I couldn't sit there like that, waiting, not knowing what had happened to her or what might be happening to her. Well, the only address I had was General Delivery. So I wrote her another letter. And yesterday afternoon, I went to the post office. I waited there until after dark, but didn't see her. I went there again this morning, but still didn't see Corinne. But I saw Floyd Thursby. Oh, he wouldn't tell me where she was. He wouldn't tell me anything except that she was well and happy. But how can I believe that? That is what he would tell me anyway, isn't it?
Sure, but it might be true.
Oh, I hope it is. I do hope it is. But how can I go home like this, without having seen her, without even having talked with her on the phone? He wouldn't take me where she was. He said that she didn't want to see me. I just can't believe that. He promised to tell her that he had seen me and to bring her to see me this evening at the hotel if she would come. He said that he knew...
Excuse me.
Oh, it's all right, Miles. Come in. Miss Wonderly, this is Mr. Archer, my partner. Miss Wonderly's sisters ran away from New York with a fellow named Floyd Thursby. They're here. Miss Wonderly has seen Thursby and has a date with him tonight. Maybe he'll bring the sister with him. Chances are he won't. Miss Wonderly wants us to find the sister and get him away from her and back home with her, right?
Yes.
We shouldn't have any problem with it. It's simply a matter of having a man at the hotel this evening to shadow him when he leaves and shadow him till he leads us to your sister. If she comes with him and you persuade her to go with you, well, so much the better. Otherwise, if after we found her she doesn't want to leave him, well, we'll figure out a way of managing that.
Yeah.
But you must be careful. I'm so afraid of him. I'm afraid of what he might do to Corinne. She is so young, and his bringing her here from New York is such a serious... Mightn't he do something to her?
Just leave that to us. We'll know how to handle him.
But mightn't he?
Well, there's always a chance, but you can trust us to take care of it.
I do trust you. But I want you to know that he's a very dangerous man. I don't think that he would stop at anything. I honestly don't think that he would even hesitate to kill Corinne if he thought that that would save him. Mightn't he do that?
You didn't threaten him,
Papa came and found out what she had done. I promised him that I would never say a word to them about it if he would help me. But if he didn't, Papa would certainly see that he was punished. I don't suppose that he believed me altogether.
Can he cover up by marrying her?
He has a wife and 3 children in England. Corinne wrote me that to explain why she had gone off with him.
They usually do, though not always in England. What does he look like?
Oh, he's 35 years old, perhaps, and as tall as you. And he's either naturally dark or quite sunburned. His hair is dark, too, and he has thick eyebrows. Oh, he talks in a rather loud, blustery way, and has a nervous, irritable manner. He gives the impression of being of violence.
What color eyes?
They're blue-gray and watery, though not in a weak way. And yes, he has a marked cleft in his chin.
Small, medium, or heavy build?
Quite athletic. He's broad-shouldered, carries himself erect. He has what could be called a decidedly military carriage. He was wearing a light gray suit and a gray hat when I saw him this morning.
What does he do for a living?
I don't know. I haven't the slightest idea.
What time is he coming to see you tonight?
After 8 o'clock.
All right, Miss Wonderly, we'll have a man there.
Say, could either you or Mr. Archer, could either of you look after it personally? Oh, I don't mean that the man you would send wouldn't be capable, but oh, I'm so afraid of him. I'm afraid of what he might do. Could you? I expect to be charged more, of course. Would that be enough?
Yeah, and I'll take care of it myself.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not at all. Glad to. Oh, it'll help some if you either meet Thursday downstairs or let yourself be seen with him in the lobby at some time.
Oh, I will.
And don't look for me. I'll see you all right. Well, they're riding on it. And there's brothers in her bag.
Well, don't dynamite her too much. What do you think of her?
Sweet. And you telling me not to dynamite her. Ha! Well, you may have seen her first, Sam, but I spoke first.
You'll play hell with her, you will. Come on, you got brains. Yes, you have.
The telephone bell rang in darkness. Miles Archer had been shot. I took a taxi cab where Bush Street roofed Stockton before slipping down to Chinatown. Then walked up Bush Street to an alley where men were grouped. Several feet down the slope, a flat boulder stuck out. In the notch between the boulder and slope, my partner, Miles Archer, lay dead on his side.
Hello, Sam.
Hello, Tom.
I thought you'd want to say it before we took him away.
Thanks. What happened?
Got him through the pump with this, a Webley. That's English, ain't it?
Yeah, Wellesley Fosbury automatic. That's it. 38. They don't make them anymore. How many shots going at him?
1 pill. He must have been dead when he cracked the fence. Did you ever see this before?
I've seen Wellesley Fosbury's before. So he was standing up here, huh, where you are. The man that shot him was standing there. Lets him have it, and Miles goes back, taking the top off the fence and on down and through till those rocks get you. Is that it?
That's it. The blast burned his coat.
Anybody hear the shots? Who found it?
The man on the beach, chilling. He was coming down Bush Street. Just as he got here, he was seen turning through his headlights up here. He saw the top of the fence up and came up to take a look. And found him.
What's this about a machine turning?
Not a damn thing about it, Sam. Schilling didn't pay any attention to it, not knowing anything was wrong then. He said nobody didn't come out of here while he was coming down Power. He'd have seen him. The only other way out is under the billboard to Stockton. Nobody went that way. The fog's made the ground soggy, and the only marks are where Miles's body slid and this here gun rolled.
How about it? Didn't anybody hear the shots?
For the love of God, Sam, we only just got here. Somebody must have heard it, and when we find him...
Coming down for a look at him before he's moved?
Nah, you've seen him. You see everything I can see.
You know, his gun was tucked away on his hip. It hadn't been fired. His overcoat was buttoned. He had 160-some bucks in his clothes. Was he working, Sam? Well?
Now, he was supposed to be tailing a fella named Floyd Thursby.
What for? What for?
He was an Englishman, maybe. I don't know what his game was exactly. We were trying to find out where he lived. But don't crowd me. I'm going to break the news to Miles's wife.
You know, it's tough, him getting it like that. Miles had his faults, same as the rest of us. Still, he must have had some good points, too.
Yeah, I guess so. Hello, Precious. Miles has been shot. Yes, he's dead. Now, don't get excited. Yes. Now, you've got to break the news to Ivor. No, I'll be damned if I will. You've got to do it. That's right. And keep away from the office. Yeah, tell her I'll see her sometime. Yeah, but don't tie me down to anything. That's right. You're an angel. Bye. Lieutenant, come in. Success to crime.
You break the news to Miles's wife?
Uh-huh.
How'd she take it?
I don't know anything about women.
I tell you don't.
What kind of gun do you carry?
Nah, and I don't much like them. Of course, there are some in the office.
I'd like to see one. You don't happen to have one around here, do you?
Look around. Turn the dump upside down if you've a mind to. I won't squawk if you've got a search warrant.
Oh, hell, Sam.
What do you want, Dundee?
We don't want to make any trouble, Sam.
Well, what do you want? Talk turkey. What the hell do you mean coming in here trying to rope me?
All right. Sit down and listen.
I'll sit or stand as I damn please.
For God's sakes, be reasonable. What's the point of starting a row? If you want to know why we didn't talk turkey, it's because when I asked you about this Thursday, you as much as told me it was none of my business. You treat us that way, Sam. It ain't right. It won't get you anywhere. We got a job to do.
I warned you your foot was going to slip one of these days.
Everybody's foot slips sometime.
And this is yours.
No, I'll do nicely, thank you. I don't like this. What are you sucking around for? Tell me or get out and let me go to bed.
Who's Thursby?
I told Tom what I knew about him.
You told Tom damn little.
I knew damn little.
Why were you tailing him?
I wasn't. Miles was. For the swell reason that a client was paying us good United States money to have him tailed.
Who's the client?
You know I can't tell you that until I talked it over with the client.
You'll tell it to me, or you'll tell it in court. This is murder, and don't you forget it.
Maybe. But here's something for you not to forget, sweetheart. I'll tell it or not as I damn please. It's a long time since I busted out crying because a policeman didn't like me.
Be reasonable, Sam. Give us a chance. How do you expect us to turn up anything on Miles' killing if you won't give us what you got?
You needn't get yourself a headache over that. I'll bury my dead.
That's just what I thought. That's just why Tom and I came up here to see you, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah.
That's just what I said to Tom. I said, Tom, I've got a hunch. This Sam Spade's a man to keep the family troubled. In the family. That's just what I said to him.
What's itching your boyfriend now?
Just this. Thursby was shot 30 minutes after you left Barrett Street.
Keep your damn paws off me.
You ain't too big a hurry to even take a look at your partner.
Well, damn it, Sam, you did run off like that.
And you didn't go to Archer's house to tell his wife. We called up your office and that girl of yours was there. She said you sent her.
Finish your drink, Dundee. Get your glass, Tom.
No thanks, Sam.
I know where I stand now. I'm sorry I got up on my hind heels, but you fellas coming in here trying to put the works on me made me nervous, and having Miles knocked out bothered me, and then you birds coming in here cracking foxy. Well, that's all right now, though. Now I know what you're up to.
Forget it.
Thursby died?
Yeah.
And you might as well know, if you don't, he died before he could tell anybody anything.
What do you mean by that? You think I did know?
I meant what I said.
You're not ready to pinch me yet, are you, Dundee? Well, then there's no particular reason why I should give a damn what you think is there, Dundee.
Be reasonable, Sam.
I'll be reasonable, Tom. How did I kill this Thursby? I've forgotten.
Oh, he was shot in the back 4 times with a 44 or 45 from across the street as he started to go into his hotel. Nobody saw it, but that's the way it figures. And he had a Luger in his shoulder holster. It hadn't been fired.
What did the hotel people say about him?
Nothing except that he'd been there a week.
Alone?
Alone.
Well, did you find anything on him or in his room?
What'd you expect us to find?
Something to tell you who he was, what his story was. Well, did you?
We thought you could tell us that.
I've never seen Thursby dead or alive.
We've asked what we came to ask. We've told you more than you've told us. That's fair enough. You know me, Spade. If you did or you didn't, you'll get a square deal out of me and most of the breaks. I don't know that I'd blame you a hell of a lot, but it won't stop me from nailing you.
Fair enough. But I'd feel better about it if you drink your drink.
Good night.
When I reached my office at 10 o'clock the following morning, Effie was there opening the morning mail. Her boyish face was pale under its sunburn.
Well, she's in there.
I asked you to keep her away from here.
Oh, yeah. Sure, Sam. Sure, but you didn't tell me how. Gee, don't be cranky with me, Sam. I've had her all night.
I'm sorry, precious. I haven't.
Well, go on. Go on.
Hello, Ivor.
Sam.
Poor darling. Did you send for Miles' brother?
Yes, he came over this morning. Oh, Sam. Did you kill him?
Ha! Who put that bright idea into your head?
I thought you'd be kind to me, Sam.
You killed my husband, Sam. Be kind to me, Sam. Jesus Christ. Now, Ivor, don't. Don't, Ivor. You shouldn't have come here today, precious. It wasn't wise. You can't stay. You ought to be home.
You'll come tonight?
Not tonight.
Soon.
Soon.
How soon?
Soon as I can. Good night, Ivor.
Well, how did you and the widow make out?
She thinks I shot Miles.
I guess so you can marry her,
The
huh?
police think I shot Thursby.
Who's he?
Who do you think I shot?
Oh, Sam.
Thursby, the guy Miles is supposed to be tailing for the Wonderly girl. Thanks, precious.
Sam, are you really going to marry Ivor?
Ah, don't be silly.
Well, she doesn't think it's silly.
I
Why
was-
should she, the way you've been playing around with her?
I wished I'd never seen her.
Well, maybe you wish that now, but I happen to know there was a time, Sam, and don't try to tell me
I never know what to do and say to women except that way. And then I didn't like Miles.
that's a lie, Sam. You know I think she's a louse, but, well, I'd be a louse too if it'd give me a body like hers. Do you think, maybe, she could have killed him?
You're an angel. A nice, well-brained angel.
Oh, am I? Well, suppose I told you that your Ivor hadn't been home many minutes when I arrived to break the news to her at 3 o'clock this morning.
Are you telling me?
She kept me waiting outside the door while she undressed or where she dumped him on a chair. Her hat and coat were underneath. Her slip on top was still warm. Well, she said she'd been asleep, but she hadn't. Oh, she'd wrinkled up the covers of the bed, but Sam, the wrinkles weren't matched down.
You're a detective, darling, but she didn't shoot him.
Oh, that louse wants to marry you, Sam. Were you with her last night?
No.
Honestly?
Honestly, now don't act like Dundee, sweetheart. It ill becomes you.
Has Dundee been after you?
Uh-huh. He and Tom Polehouse dropped in for a drink about 4 o'clock.
Do they really think that you shot this what's his name?
Thursday.
Well, do they?
God knows, they did have some such notion. I don't know how far I talked them out of it.
Oh, look at me, Sam. Gee, you worry me. You always think you know what you're doing, but you're too slick for your own good, and one of these days you're going to find it out.
That's what Dundee says. If you keep either away from me, sweets, and I'll manage to survive the rest of my trouble.
Now, Sam, wait.
Have Spade and Archer removed from the door and have Samuel Spade put on. I'll be back in an hour or phone you.
I took a taxi to the Coronet Hotel on California Street, apartment number 1001, and called on a Miss LeBlanc.
Good morning.
Oh, come in, Mr. Spade. Everything is upside down. I haven't even finished unpacking.
Thank you.
Mr. Spade, I have a terrible, terrible confession to make. That story that I told you yesterday, it was all a story.
Oh, that. We didn't exactly believe your story.
Then
We believed your $200.
you mean...
I mean, you paid us more than if you'd been telling us the truth, and enough more to make it all right.
Well, even now, you would be
Well,
willing
now,
to
that
help me?
depends. You see, the hell of it is, Miss, what is your name? Wonderly or LeBlanc?
It's really O'Shaughnessy. Bridget O'Shaughnessy.
Well, the hell of it is, Miss O'Shaughnessy, is that a couple of murders coming together like that gets everything all stirred up. Makes the police think they can go to limits. Makes everybody...
Mr. Spade, tell me the truth. Am I to blame for last night?
Now that there's something I don't know about. You warned us about Thursday being dangerous and all. Of course, you lied to us about your sister, but that doesn't count. We didn't believe you. No, I wouldn't say it was your fault.
But I'll always blame myself. Mr. Archer was so alive yesterday. So solid.
Stop it. He knew what he was doing. They're the chances we take.
Was he married?
Yes, with 10,000 insurance, no children, and a wife who didn't like him.
Oh,
Well, that's how it was. But there's no time for that now. Out there, a group of policemen and assistant district attorneys and reporters are running around with their noses to the ground. What do you want to do?
I want you to save me from it all. Oh, Mr. Spade, do they know about me?
Not yet. I wanted to see you first.
What would they think about the way that I came to you with all those lies?
Well, it would make them suspicious. That's why I've been stalling them. I thought maybe we wouldn't have to let them know all of it. We ought to be able to rig a story that will rock them to sleep if necessary.
Well, you don't think that I had anything to do with the murders, do you?
I forgot to ask you that, did you?
No.
Good. Now, what are we going to tell the police?
Must they know about me at all? Oh, I think I would rather die than that, Mr. Spade. I can't explain now, but can't you somehow manage to shield me from them so that I won't have to answer their questions? Oh, I think that I would rather die to be questioned now. Oh, can't you, Mr. Spade?
Maybe, but I'll have to know what it's all about.
I haven't lived a good life. I've been bad. Worse than you could know. But I know all about it. Look at me, Mr. Spade. You know that I'm not all bad, don't you? You can see that, can't you? Then can't you trust me a little? I'm so alone and afraid, and I've got nobody to help me if you won't help me. I know that I've no right to ask you to trust me if I won't trust you. I do trust you, but I can't tell you. I can't tell you now. Later I will, when I can. Oh, I know this isn't fair. Mr. Spade, be generous. Don't ask me to be fair. You said you could help me. Oh, help me, Mr. Spade. Help me because I need help so badly. And because if you don't, where will I find anyone else who can, no matter how willing? I know I've no right to ask you to help me so blindly, but I do. Be generous, Mr. Spade. Please.
voice when you say things like, "Be generous, Mr. Spade"?
I deserve that. I deserve it. But oh, I did want your help so much. I do want it and need it so much. And the lie was in the way I said it, and not at all in what I said. It is my own fault that you can't believe me now.
Man, you are dangerous. What happened last night?
Dwight came to the hotel at 9 o'clock, and we went out for a walk. I suggested that so that Mr. Archer could see him. We stopped at a restaurant in Gary Street, I think it was, for supper and to dance, and then came back to the hotel about 12:30. Dwight left me at the door, and I stood inside and watched Mr. Archer follow him down the street on the other side.
Down? You mean toward Market Street?
Yes.
Do you know what they were doing in the neighborhood of Bush and Stockton where Archer was shot?
Isn't that near where Floyd lived?
No, that'd be nearly a dozen blocks out of the way if he was going from your hotel to his. Well, what did you do after they had gone?
I went to bed, and then this morning when I went out for breakfast, I saw the headlines in the newspapers and read about, oh, you know. Then I went up to Union Square where I had seen automobiles for hire and got one, and then came back to the hotel for my luggage. After I had found that my room had been searched yesterday, I knew that I would have to move. And I had found this place, and so I then came up here and telephoned your office.
Your room at the St. Mark was searched?
Yes, while I was at the I didn't mean to tell you that.
And I'm not to question you about it. Haven't I offered to do what I can? I've nothing against trusting you blindly, but I won't be able to do you much good if I have no idea what it's all about. For instance, I've got to have some sort of line on your Lloyd Thursday.
I met him in the Orient. We came here last week from Hong Kong. He promised to help me, but he took advantage of my helplessness and dependence upon him to betray me.
Betray you how? Why did you want him shadowed?
I wanted to see how far he had gone. He wouldn't even let me know where he was staying. I wanted to see what he was doing, whom he was meeting, things like that.
Did he kill Archer?
Oh, yes, certainly.
He had a Luger in his shoulder holster. Archer wasn't shot with a Luger.
He carried a revolver in his overcoat pocket.
You saw it?
Oh, I've seen it often. I know that he always carries one there. I didn't see it last night. I know that he never wears an overcoat without it.
Why out of the gun?
He lived by them.
You picked a nice sort of playmate.
Only that sort could have helped me if he had been loyal.
Yeah, him. How big a hole are you actually in?
As bad as could be.
Physical danger?
I'm not heroic. I don't think that there is anything worse than death.
Then it's that.
It's that. It's that, as surely as we're standing here, unless you help me.
Who do you think I am? I can't work miracles out of thin air. The day is gone and you've given me nothing to work with. Who killed Thursday?
I don't know.
Your enemies are here.
I don't know. His, I hope. But I'm afraid I just don't know.
Why did you bring him here from Hong Kong? How was he supposed to be helping you? This is hopeless. I can't do anything for you. I don't know what you want done. I don't know if you know what you want.
Well, you won't go to the police.
Go to them. They've been running me ragged since 4 o'clock this morning. I've made myself God knows how much trouble standing them off. For what? For some crazy notion that I can help you. I can't. I won't try. Go to them. All I got to do is stand still and they'll be swarming all over me. Well, I'll tell them what I know and you'll have to take your chances.
You've been patient with me. You've tried to help me. It is useless and hopeless, I suppose. I thank you for what you have done. I'll have to take my chances.
How much money have you got?
I've about $500 left.
Give it to me. There's only 400 here.
I've had to keep some to live
Can't
on.
you get any more?
No.
Don't you have anything you can sell?
I've some rings, a little jewelry.
You'll have to hot them. The remedial's best. Mission and Phil. I'll be back as soon as I can with the best news I can manage. There's no need to see me to the door. I'll see myself out.
I returned to my office at 10 minutes past 5 that evening. Effie was sitting at my
ticket?
Not here. Woo! You look like you'd swallowed the canary.
I think we've got a future. I always thought that if Miles would go off and die somewhere, we'd stand a better chance of thriving.
Sam.
Would you send flowers for
Oh,
me?
I already have.
Ah, you're an invaluable angel.
Well, yeah, I can't help it.
How's your woman's intuition today?
Why?
What do you think of Wonderly?
Well, I'm for it.
She's got too many names for me. Wonderly and LeBlanc. And now she says the real one's O'Shaughnessy.
I don't care if that girl's got as many names as in the phone book. She's okay, Sam, and you know it.
I wonder. Well, anyway, she's given me 700 smacks in 2 days. And that's all right.
Sam, if that girl's in trouble and you let her down or take advantage of it to bleed her, well, I'll never forgive you. Never have any respect for you again as long as I live. Yes? Mr. Joel Cairo. Sam, this guy is queer.
Well, in with him, darling, in with him.
Mr. Spade will see you now, Mr. Cairo.
Come in, Mr. Cairo. Sit down. Now, what can I do for you, Mr. Cairo?
May a stranger offer his condolences for your partner's unfortunate death.
Thanks.
May I also ask Mr. Spade if there was, as the newspapers inferred, a certain relationship between that unfortunate happening and the death a little later of the man Thursday? I beg your pardon, but more than idle curiosity made me ask that, Mr. Spade. You see, I'm trying to recover an ornament which has been, shall we say, mislaid. I had thought and hoped that you might assist me. The ornament is a statuette, the black figure of a bird. And I'm prepared to pay, on behalf of the figure's rightful owner, the sum of $5,000 for its recovery. I am also prepared to promise that, what is your phrase? No questions will be asked.
$5,000 is a lot of money.
Excuse me. Will there be, anything else?
No, thanks. Good night. Lock up before you leave.
Okay, goodbye.
Not a bad figure.
Please clasp your hands together and flatten your neck. I intend to search your offices, Mr. Spade. And I must warn you, should you try to prevent me from doing so, I will shoot you.
Go ahead.
You will please stand. I must be sure you are not armed. I could have shot you, Mr. Spade.
You could have tried.
But I did not try.
I know.
Then why did you strike me after I was disarmed?
Sorry, but imagine my embarrassment when I found that $5,000 offer was a lot of hooey.
Mistaken, Mr. Spade. That was and is a genuine offer.
What the hell?
I am prepared to pay $5,000 for the figure's return. You have it?
No.
If it is not here, why should you risk serious injury to prevent my searching for it?
I should sit around here and let people come in here and stick me up? You got my apartment address. Been up there yet?
Well, yes, Mr. Spade. I am prepared to pay the $5,000 for the figure's return, but surely it is only natural that I should first try to spare the owner that expense if possible.
Who is he?
You will have to excuse my not answering that question.
Will I? You walked in here and tied yourself up plenty good enough to suit the police with last night's killing. Well, now you'll play with me or else.
Spade! I made somewhat extensive inquiries about you before I took any action, and I was assured that you are far too reasonable to allow any other consideration to interfere with a profitable business relations.
Where are they?
But I have offered you $5,000 for it.
There's nothing like $5,000 there. You're betting your eyes. You could come in here and offer me $1 million for a purple elephant. But what in hell would that mean?
I see. You wish some assurance of my sincerity. A retainer, would that serve?
Maybe.
You will take, say, $100?
I'll take, say, $200. All right, your first idea was that I had the bird. There's nothing to that. What was your second?
That you know where it is. Or if not that exactly, that you know it is where you can get it.
What kind of proof can you give me that your man is the owner?
Very little, unfortunately. There is this. Nobody else can give you any authentic evidence of ownership at all. And if you know as much about this affair as I suppose, or I should not be here, then you know that the means by which it was taken from him shows that his right is more valid than anyone else's. Certainly more valid than Thursday's.
I think it would be better if we put our cards on the table.
I do not think that would be better. If you know more than I, then I will profit by that enough. And so shall you, to the extent of $5,000. You do not. Well, I've made a mistake in coming to you. And to do as you suggest would be simply to make that mistake worse, no?
Here's your stuff. It's understood that you're to pay my expenses while I'm getting your black bird for you, plus $5,000 when it's done.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. That is $5,000 less whatever monies have been advanced to you. $5,000 is all.
Right. And it's a legitimate proposition. You're not hiring me to do any burglaries or murders for you, but simply to get it back, if possible, in a lawful and legal manner.
If possible. And in any event, with discretion. I shall be at the Hotel Belvedere when you wish to communicate with me. Room 635. And I confidently expect the greatest mutual benefit from our association, Mr. Spade.
Uh-huh. Come over here. I want to show you something. Is the kid down there in the cap?
Yes.
Who is he?
I do not know.
He's been tailing me around town.
I give you my word, I do not know him, Mr. Spade. I give you my word, I have nothing to do with him. I've asked nobody's assistance but yours, on my word of honor.
Then he must be one of the others.
That may be.
I just wanted to know, because if he gets to be a nuisance, I may have to hurt him.
Do as you think best. He is no friend of mine. May I have my pistol?
Oh, yes, I almost forgot.
Please keep your hands on top of his head. I intend to search your office.
I'll be damned. Well, go ahead. I won't stop you.
For half an hour after Joel Cairo had gone, I sit alone, still and frowning at my desk. Then I took a bottle of Manhattan cocktail and a paper drinking cup from a desk drawer, filled the cup 2/3 full, drank, returned the bottle to the drawer, tossed the cup into a wastebasket, put on my hat, turned off the light, and went down to the night-lit street. Then crossed over to California Street and went to the Coronet. It was not quite 9:30.
Do you bring me good news?
We won't have to make anything public that hasn't already been made public.
The police won't have to know about me?
No.
Oh, however did you manage it?
Well, most things in San Francisco can either be bought or taken.
And you won't get into any trouble? Do sit down.
I don't mind a reasonable amount of trouble. You're not exactly the sort of person you pretend to be, are you?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Schoolgirl manner, blushing and stammering and all that.
Very well, Mr. Spade. I'm not at all the sort of person I pretend to be. I'm 80 years old, incredibly wicked, and an iron molder by trade. But if it is a pose, it's one I've grown into, so you won't expect me to drop it entirely, will you?
Oh, it's all right. Only it wouldn't be if you were actually that innocent. We'd never get anywhere.
I won't be innocent.
I saw Joel Cairo today.
You know him?
I saw him. It was in my office.
You mean you talked with him?
Yeah, I had to rough him up a little bit, the little darling.
Oh.
You're good. You're very good.
Well, what did he say?
About what?
About me?
Nothing.
Well, what did he say?
He offered me $5,000 for the black bird.
And what did you say?
$5,000 is a lot of money.
Surely you're not really considering it.
Why not? $5,000 is a lot of money.
But Mr. Spade, you promised to help me.
You can't treat me like this.
$5,000 is a lot of money.
It is. It is far more than I could ever offer you if I must bid for your loyalty.
That is good coming from you. What have you ever offered me besides money? Have you given me any of your trust, any of the truth, any help in helping you? Haven't you tried to buy my loyalty with money and nothing else? Well, if I'm petting it, why shouldn't I let it go to the highest bidder?
I've given you all of the money I have. I've thrown myself on your mercy and told you that without your help, I'm utterly lost. What else is there? Can I buy you with my body?
I'll think about it. Hell, there's no sense in this. I don't give a damn about your honesty. I don't care what kind of tricks you're up to, what your secrets are. But I've got to have something to show me that you know what you're doing.
Well, I do know. Please believe that I do, and that it's all for the best.
Show me. I'm willing to help you. I've done what I could so far. If necessary, I'll go ahead blindfolded. But I can't do it, not without any more confidence than I've got in you now. You've got to convince me that you know what it's all about, and that you're not simply fiddling around by guessing by God, hoping that it'll all turn out all right somehow in the end.
Can't you trust me just a little?
How much is a little? What are you waiting for?
I must talk with Joel Cairo.
You can see him tonight. We can talk to him on the phone at his hotel.
But he can't come here. I can't let him know where I am. I'm afraid.
My place.
Do you think that he would go there?
Yes.
Right. Well, shall we go now?
You don't mind going in alone, do you? I won't be long.
That's perfectly all right. You needn't hurry. I've got to talk to you, Sam. Can't I come in?
Not now.
Who is she?
I haven't much time, Ivor. What is it?
Who is she?
What's the matter? Has something happened? You ought to be here this time of night.
I'm beginning to believe that. First I ought to come to your office, and now I ought to come here. Do you mean I oughtn't chase after you, Sam? If that's what you mean, why don't you say it?
Now, Ivor, you've got no right to take that attitude.
Oh, no, I haven't. I haven't any rights at all, it seems, where you're concerned. I thought I did. I thought that you're pretending to love me, gave me the right
This
to...
is the time to be arguing about that precious. What did you want to see me about?
I can't talk to you about it here, Sam. Can't I come in?
Not now.
Why can't I?
Good night, Ivor. Hello. Joel Cairo. Mr. Cairo? This is Spade. Yes. Could you come up to my place? Now. Post Street. I think it is. Miss O'Shaughnessy's here. She'd like to talk to you. Right. He'll be here in a moment.
I don't have to tell you how utterly at a disadvantage you'll have me with him here, if you choose.
No, you don't have to tell me that.
And you know that I never would have put myself in this position if I hadn't trusted you completely.
That again?
But you know it's so.
No, I don't know it. My asking you for reasons why I should trust you is what brought us here. Now, let's not confuse things. Anyway, you don't have to trust me as long as you can persuade me to trust you. But never mind about that now. You'll be here in a minute. You get your business over with him, and then we'll see where we stand.
And you'll let me go about it in my own way.
Yeah.
Or a godsend.
Now, let's not overdo it.
That boy is outside watching the house, Mr. Spade. That boy shouldn't. You might understand from that, Mr. Spade. I came here in good faith with no thought of tricks.
You were asking good faith. I ought to have known he'd show up here. Well, did he see you come in?
Naturally he did. I could have gone on, but that seemed useless, since you had already let him see us together.
What boy?
You do not know, ask Mr. Spade. I know nothing about it except through him.
A kid who's been trying to tell me around town all evening. Well, come on in, Cairo. Don't stand out there for the neighbors to hear.
Did he follow you to my apartment?
No, I shook him before that. He must have come back here to try to pick me up.
I am delighted to see you again, Miss O'Shaughnessy.
I was sure that you would be, Joe. Sam tells me of your offer for the fountain. How soon can you have the money ready?
It is ready.
In cash?
Oh, yes.
You are ready to give us $5,000 now if we give you the fountain.
Excuse me, I express myself badly. I did not mean to say that I have the money here in my pockets, but that I can get it at a very few minutes' notice, at any time during banking hours.
Oh.
That's probably true. He only had a couple of hundred on him when I frisked him earlier.
Yes. I could be quite prepared to have the money ready for you at, say, 10:30 in the morning, eh?
But I haven't got the falcon. I will have it, though, in a week at the most.
Where is it?
Where Floyd hid it.
Floyd! Thursby? And you know where it is?
I think I do.
Why must we wait a week?
Well, perhaps not a whole week. Whom are you buying it for, Joe?
I told Mr. Spade, for its owner.
So, you went back to him.
Naturally, I did.
Oh, I should have liked to have seen that.
That was the logical development. Why, if I in turn may ask a question, are you willing to sell to me?
I'm afraid. After what happened to Floyd, that's why I haven't it now. I'm afraid to touch it except to turn it over to somebody else right away.
What exactly happens to Floyd? Oh, I see. Is he here?
I don't know. What difference does it make?
Might make a world of difference.
For me or you?
Exactly. May I add more certainly that boy outside?
Yes. Oh, yes. Unless he's the one you had in Constantinople.
The one you couldn't make. Oh!
That's the second time you put your hands on me. Yes, and when you're zapped, you'll take it and like it.
Who is it?
I don't know. Keep quiet.
Get him in here.
Hello, Sam.
Hello, Tom.
We thought you wouldn't have gone to bed yet.
You boys picked a swell time to do your visiting in. What is it now?
We want to talk to you, Spade.
Well, go ahead and talk.
We don't have to do it standing out here, do we?
You can't come in.
What the hell, Sam?
Going so strong on me, Tom?
For God's sake!
Let us in.
You're not coming in. Well, what do you want to do about it? Do your talking out here, try to get in, or go to hell?
It pay you to play along a little with us, Spade. You got away with this and you got away with that, but you can't keep it up forever.
Catch me when you can.
That's what I'll do. There's talk going around you and Archer's wife was cheating on him.
Ha! That sounds like something you thought up yourself.
So there's not anything to it?
Not anything.
Talk is, she tried to get a divorce out of him so she could put in with you and he wouldn't give it to her. Anything to that?
No.
There's even talk that's why he was put on the spot.
Don't be a hog. You oughtn't try to pin more than one murder on me at a time. Your first idea that I knocked out Thursday because he killed Miles falls apart if you blame me for killing Miles, too.
You haven't heard me say you killed anybody yet. You keep bringing that up. But suppose I do. You could have blipped them both. There's a way of figuring it.
Uh-huh. I could have butchered Miles to get his wife, and then Thursday to pin Miles' murder on him. That's one hell of a swell system, or will be as soon as I give somebody else a bump and pin Thursdays on them. How long am I supposed to keep this up? Or are you going to put your hands on my shoulders for all the killings in San Francisco from now on?
Cut the comedy, Sam. You know damn well we don't like this any more than you do, but we got our work to do.
Well, I hope you got better things to do than dropping in here every morning with a lot of damn fool questions.
And getting damn lying answers.
Take it easy.
You say there's nothing between you and Archer's wife. You're a liar and I'm telling you so.
So that's the hot tip that brought you up here this ungodly time of night.
That's one of them.
And the other.
Let us in.
Help! Please!
I guess you are. What are you up to in here?
This is what she has done to me. Look at you.
Did you do this?
I had to. I was all alone in here when he attacked me. Oh, I tried to keep him off, but I couldn't make myself shoot him.
Liar! You dirty, filthy liar!
She's lying openly. I came here in good faith and was attacked by both of them. So I called for help, so you wouldn't leave me here she struck me with the pistol.
Here, give me this. Let's get this straight. What'd you come here for?
He sent for me. He called me on the phone and asked me to come.
What did he want you for?
He said they wanted to see me. I did not know what about.
Well, what happened then?
They attacked me. She struck me first. And then he choked me and took the pistol from my pocket. I don't know what they would have done next if you had not come at that moment. I dare say they might have murdered me then and there. And then he went out to answer the bell and left her here with the pistol to watch over me.
Why don't you make him tell the truth?
Hey, none of that.
He's impulsive.
Yeah. Well, what do you want us to think the truth is?
Well, not what he said. Not anything that he said, is it?
What do I know? I was out in the kitchen mixing an omelet when it all happened.
Well, if he's not telling the truth, how come he was doing the squawking for help and not you?
Oh, he was frightened to death when I struck him.
Fool! Another lie!
Behave, sister, we'll have none of that.
Then make him tell the truth.
We'll do that all right, just no rough stuff. Well, Tom, I don't guess we'll go wrong in pulling a lot of them in.
Don't be in a hurry. Everything can be explained.
I bet you.
Miss O'Shaughnessy, let me introduce to you Lieutenant Dundee and Detective Sergeant Colehouse. Miss O'Shaughnessy is an operative in my employ.
That's not so.
I hired her recently, yesterday. This is Mr. Cairo, a friend, an acquaintance at any rate of Thursby's. He came to my office this afternoon and tried to hire me to find something that Thursby was supposed to have on it when he got bumped out. Well, the way he put it to me looked a little strange, so I wouldn't touch it. Then he pulled a gun on me. Well, never mind about that unless it comes to laying charges against each other. Well, after talking it over with Miss O'Shaughnessy, I thought maybe we could get something out of him on Miles and Thursday's murder, so I called him up and asked him to come over here. Maybe we did put the question to him a little bit rough, but he wasn't hurt any. Not enough to go calling for help. I had already had to take his gun away from him again.
Well, what have you got to say to that?
I don't know what I should say.
Try telling the facts.
Facts? What assurance have I that the facts would be believed?
Quit stalling. All you've got to do is swear out a complaint they took a poke at you. And the warrant officer will believe you enough to swear out a warrant and let us throw him in the can.
Go ahead, Cairo. Tell him you do it and make him happy. And then we'll swear out one to you and he'll have the lot of us.
Get your heads.
Well, boys and girls, we put it over nicely.
Get your hats.
Don't you know when you've been kidded?
No, but that can wait till we get down to the hall.
I dare you to run us in, Dundee. We'll laugh at you at every newspaper in San Francisco. You don't think any of us is going to swear out a complaint against the other, do you? Ha! Wake up. You've been kidded. When the doorbell rang, I said to Miss O'Shaughnessy and Cairo here, I said, it's those damn bulls again. They're getting to be a nuisance. Let's play a joke on them. When you hear them start to leave, one of you scream, and then we'll see how far along we can string them before they tumble. Cut it out, Sam. Well, that's how it was.
And the cut on his head and mouth, where'd they come from?
Maybe he cut himself shaving. Ask him.
I fell. We intended to be struggling for the pistol when you came in, but I fell. I tripped on the end of the rug, and I fell while we were pretending to struggle.
Horse feathers!
That's all right, Dundee. That's our story, believe it or not. And the newspapers will print it whether they believe it or not. And it'll be just as funny one way as the other. Well, what are you going to do about it? It was all a joke. Everything we told you was all part of a joke. You haven't got anything on anybody here. What are you going to do about it?
You can't get away with this. You belched for help, and now you're gonna take it.
Oh, no, sir. It was a joke. He said you were friends of his. They would understand.
I'll take you along for packing a gun anyway. And I'll take the rest of you along to see who laughs at the joke.
Don't be a sap, Dundee. The gun was a plant. It's one of mine. Too bad it's only a 32, or maybe you could say it was one of the ones that Thursby and Miles was shot with. Get him out of here quick!
No! Get their names and addresses!
My name is Joel Cairo, Hotel Belvedere.
Miss O'Shaughnessy can be reached in my office.
Get her address!
My address is in care of my office.
Where do you live?
I've had enough of this. Get him out of here.
Was that all?
I will be going too. That is, if Mr. Spade will not mind.
What's your hurry?
Sure, it was all a joke. But just the same, you're afraid to be left alone with them.
No, not at all. But it is quite late, and I'm going. I'll go out with you if you don't mind.
I hope to God you know what you're doing.
Of all the dumb, stupid, inconsiderate, illiterate, I like the... Childish, isn't it? God, I do hate being hit without hitting back. Not that it was that much of a sock. Small enough price to pay for winning. Though I'll remember it.
You're absolutely the wildest person I've ever known. Do you always carry on so high-handed?
I let him hit me, didn't I?
Yes, but a police official.
I wasn't that. It was that in losing his head and slugging me, he overplayed his hand. If I had mixed it up with him, he couldn't have backed down. He'd have had to go through with it. And then we'd have had to tell that goofy story down at headquarters. What did you do to Cairo?
Nothing. I tried to frighten him into keeping still until he had gone. But either he got too frightened or stubborn and yelled.
And then you smacked him with a gun?
I had to. He attacked me.
You don't know what you're doing. It's just like I told you. You're fumbling around by guessing by God.
I'm sorry, Sam.
Sure you are. Well, now you've had to talk with Cairo. Now you can talk to me. Tell me about the bird.
It's a small figure, as you know, smooth and shiny, of a bird, a hawk or a falcon, about that high.
What makes it important?
Well, I don't know. They'd never tell me. They promised me 500 pounds if I would help them. And then Dwight said afterwards, after we had left Joe, that he would give me $750.
So it must be worth more than $7,500.
Much more than that. They didn't even pretend to share equally with me. They simply hired me to help them.
Help them how?
To get it from the man who had it. A Russian named Kimidov.
How?
Oh, that doesn't matter. And it wouldn't help you. And it certainly isn't any of your business.
This was in Constantinople?
Marmora.
All right, go on.
But that's all I've told you. They promised me 500 pounds if I would help them, and I did. And then we learned that Joel Cairo meant to desert us, taking the Falcon with him and leaving us nothing. So we did exactly that to him first. But then I wasn't any better off than I had been before, because Floyd had no intention at all of paying me the 750 pounds that he had promised me. I had learned that by the time we got here. He said that we would go to New York where he would sell it and give me my share. Oh, but I could see that he wasn't telling me the truth. And that's when I came to you to get you to help me learn where the Falcon was.
You are a liar.
I am a liar. I've always been a liar.
Well, don't brag about it. It's childish. Was there any truth at all in that yarn?
Some.
How much?
Not much. Not very much.
Well, we've got all night. Let's fly again.
I'm so tired. I'm so tired of it all. I'm tired of myself, of lying, of thinking up lies, not knowing what is a lie and what is the truth. I wish I would.
Intuition tell you that Bridget O'Shaughnessy is some kind of Madonna or something?
Well, I still believe that no matter what kind of trouble she's gotten herself into, she's all right, if that's what you mean.
That's what I mean. Are you strong enough on her to give her a lift?
Well, how?
Could you put her up for a couple of days?
You mean at home?
Yes, I think it would be best if she wasn't around. It'd help a lot if you could take her in.
Oh, is she really in danger, Sam?
I think she is.
Oh, gee, that would scare Ma into a green hemorrhage. Oh, I'll have to tell her she's a surprise witness or something, that you keep it undercover till the last minute.
You're an angel. You better take her there now. I'll get a key and bring her over whatever she needs from a hotel. You go home now and take a taxi cab. Make sure you aren't followed. You probably won't be, but make sure anyway. I'll send her over later making sure she isn't followed.
Got it.
Hello. Yeah, this is Spade. Oh, yes, I've been waiting to hear from you. Who? Gutman. Oh, yeah, sure. The Alexandra? That 15 minutes? Right. Hello, honey.
Oh, Sam, oh, forgive me. Forgive me.
Sure, it's all right. Forget it.
But Sam, I sent those policemen over there. I was mad, crazy with jealousy. I phoned them if they'd go over there, that they'd find out about Maltese's murder.
Well, what made you think that?
I didn't, but I was mad, Sam. I wanted to hurt you.
I made things damn awkward, but it's all right now. Only don't get any more crazy notions like that.
Oh, I won't, ever. But you weren't very nice to me last night. You were cold and distant and tried to get rid of me. When I'd gone down there and waited so long to warn you, and you...
Warn me about what?
About Phil. He's found out about your being in love with me. I also told him about my wanting a divorce, so of course he didn't know what for. So now Phil thinks that thinks you killed his brother because he wouldn't give me the divorce so we could get married. He told me he believed that, Sam, and yesterday he went down and called the police.
That's nice. And then you came to warn me. And since I was busy, you got up on your ears and helped that damn Phil Archer stir things up.
I'm sorry. I know you won't forgive me. I'm sorry.
Well, you ought to be on your own account as well as mine. Has Dundee been down to see you since Phil did his talking, or anybody from the Bureau?
No.
Well, they will, and it's just as soon as they don't find you here. Did you tell anybody who you were when you phoned?
Oh, no. I simply told them if they went over to the apartment right away that they'd find out about the murder, and then I hung up.
Where'd you phone from?
From the drugstore, because of your police. I'm Sam, dear.
I was a dumb trick, but it's done now. You better run along home and think of things to tell the police. You'll be hearing from them. Maybe it's best you say no right across the board. Where were you when Miles was shot?
Home. I was.
No, but if that's your answer, it's all right with me.
What makes you think I wasn't home?
Nothing. I just know you weren't.
But I was. I was. Effie Perrine told you that. I saw her looking at my clothes and snooping around. You know she doesn't like me, Sam. Why do you believe the things that she tells you when you know she'd do anything to make trouble for me?
God, you women. Well, you've got to trot along now, precious. I'm late for an appointment. You do what you want.
I'm not lying to you, Sam.
Like hell you're not.
You don't believe me?
I don't believe you.
You don't forgive me for what I've done?
Sure I do. It's all right. Now run along. Beat it.
The mahogany door of Suite 12C at the Alexandra Hotel was opened by the boy I had talked to on the street. He stood aside holding the door open as a fat man with bulbous pink cheeks and a great soft eggo belly came to meet me.
Hello? Mr. Spade. Mr. Gutman.
You begin well, sir. I distrust a man that says when. He's got to be careful not to drink too much, because he's not to be trusted when he does. Here's to plain speaking, a clear understanding. You're a close-mouthed man,
I like to talk.
Better and better. I distrust a close-mouthed man. He generally picks the wrong time to talk and says the wrong thing. Talking is something you can't do judiciously unless you keep in practice. We'll get along that we will. Mr. Coulsen.
Thank you.
We'll talk if you like. No, I tell you right out, I'm a man that likes talking. A man that likes to talk.
Well, will we talk about the black bird?
Will we? No, we will. You're the man for me, sir. A man cut along my own lines. No beating about the bush, but right to the point. Will we talk about the black bird? We will. I like it, sir. I like their way of doing business. Let us talk about the blackbird by all means. But first answer me a question. Though maybe it's an unnecessary one. So we'll understand each other from the beginning. You're here as Miss O'Shaughnessy's representative.
Well, I can't say yes or no. There's nothing certain about it. It depends.
Depends on?
Well, if I knew what it depended on, I could say yes or no.
Maybe. Depends on Cairo.
Maybe.
And you could say it's a question of which one of them you represent.
You could say that.
It will be one or the other.
I didn't say that.
Who else is there?
It's me.
Oh, that's wonderful, sir. That's wonderful. I do like a man that tells you right out he's looking out for himself. Don't we all? I just trust the man who says he's not. And the man who's telling the truth when he says he's not. I just trust most of all because he's an ass. That's going contrary to the laws of nature.
Uh-huh. Now let's talk about the black bird.
Let's. Mr. Spade, have you any conception of how much money can be made out of that blackbird?
No.
Well, sir, if I told you, if I told you half, you'd call me a liar.
No, not even if I thought it. But if you don't want to take that chance, just tell me what it's worth and I'll figure out the profit.
You couldn't do that, sir. Nobody could that hadn't had a world of experience with things of that sort. And there aren't any other things of that sort. You mean you don't know what it is?
Ah, hell, I know what it looks like. I know the value of lives you people put on it. No, I don't know what it is.
She didn't tell you?
Miss O'Shaughnessy?
Yes, a lovely girl.
No.
You must know. And Cairo didn't either?
Cairo's cagey. He's willing to buy, but he won't risk telling me any more than I already know.
How much is he willing to buy for?
$10,000.
$10,000? And dollars might you not even count. Well, that's the Greek for you. And what did you say to that?
Well, I said if I gave it to him, I'd expect 10,000.
Yes, yes. Nicely put. They must know. Do they know what that bird is, sir? What was your impression?
Well, I can't help you there. There's not much to go by. Cairo didn't say he did, but he didn't say he didn't. She said she didn't, but I took it for granted she was lying.
Well, it was not an injudicious thing to do. Maybe they don't. They don't. If they don't, then I'm the only man in the world who does.
Good. I'm glad I came to the right place.
That's it. The glass is empty. Ah, sir. This is a medicine that will never hurt you.
Yes, the plain talking and clear understanding.
Well, sir, it's surprising. But it well may be a fact that neither of them does know exactly what that bird is. That nobody in all this whole white sweet world knows what it is. Saving and accepting only Caspar Gutman, Esquire.
Well, and when you told me, we'll be the only two who know.
Mathematically correct. But I don't know for certain that I'm going to tell you.
Ah, don't be a fool, Gutman. You know what it is, I know where it is. That's why we're here.
Well, sir, where is it? See, I must tell you what I know. You will not tell me what you know. That is hardly equitable, sir. No. No, I do not think we can do business along those lines.
Well, think again and think fast. I told that punk of yours that you talked to me before you were through. Well, I'm telling you now, you'll talk to me today or you are through. Why are you wasting my time? You and your lousy secrets. I can do without you, damn you. Maybe you could do without me if you'd stay clear of me. You can't, not in San Francisco. Well, you'll come in today or you'll get out. And another thing, Another thing, keep that Gunzel away from me while you're making up your mind. I don't like him. He makes me nervous. I'll kill him the first chance he gets in my way. I won't give him a chance. I won't give him an even break. I'll kill him.
Yes, sir, I must say, you've a most violent temper.
Temper? Well, think again and think like hell. You've got until 5:30 to do your thinking in. Then you're either in or out for keeps. 5:30. Then the curtain.
Floor in an elevator. My lips were dry and rough and a face otherwise pale and dim. When I took out my handkerchief to wipe my face, I saw my hands trembling. Edley was standing in my office when I entered.
get there?
Oh, I waited and I waited and she didn't come and I couldn't get you on the phone, so I came on down. Did you put her out in a taxi? Well, are you sure she... Oh, Sam, somebody must have followed her.
Nobody followed her. You think I'm a schoolboy? I checked her before I put her in the cab. I rode a dozen blocks with her to make more sure and checked her a half a dozen blocks after this.
Yeah, I know, Sam,
But she didn't get there. You told me that. I heard you. You think I think she did get there?
Well, you certainly act like a schoolboy.
I'm going out to find her if I have to dig up the sewer. You stay here till I get back. And for God's sake, let's do something right. You ought to know better than to listen to me when I act like that.
If you think I'll listen to you, much less pay any attention to you at all, when you act like that, you're just crazy. Only I won't be able to wear an evening gown for a couple of weeks. You big brute.
I'm no damn good, darling.
What did you say?
Come on! The fat man wants to see you!
I hope I haven't kept you waiting.
Keep on riding me and you'll be picking iron out of your navel!
Keep a little crust of gun, you little pattern. Well, let's go. This ought to put you in real good with your mouth. To let him take them around with him. He's liable to get himself hurt.
What's this?
Crippled Newsy took them away from him. I made him give them back.
My cat, you're a chap with knowing an amazing character. Come in, sit down, give me your hat. And now I hope you let me apologize.
Never mind about that. Let's talk about the bird.
All right, sir. Let's. This is going to be the most astounding thing you've ever heard of, sir. And I say that knowing that a man of your caliber in your profession has known some astounding things in his time. What do you know, sir, about the order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem, later called the Knights of Rhodes and other things?
Not much. Only what I remember from school in history. Crusaders or something.
Very good. Now, you don't remember that Suleiman the Magnificent chased them out of Rhodes in 1523.
No.
That's what he did. And they settled in Crete, and they stayed there for 7 years until 1530. And they persuaded the Emperor Charles V to give them Malta, Gozo, Tripoli.
Yeah.
Yes. But with these conditions, they were to pay the Emperor each year the tribute of 1 falcon in acknowledgement that Malta was still under Spain. And if they ever left the island, it was to revert to Spain, you understand? He was giving it to them, but not unless they used it. And they couldn't give or sell it to anybody else.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you any conception of extreme, immeasurable wealth of the order at that time?
Well, if I remember, they were pretty well fixed.
Pretty well. Just putting in mind. They were rolling in wealth, sir. You've no idea. None of us has any idea. For years they preyed on the citizens, taking nobody knows what spoils of gems, precious metals, silks, ivories, cream of the East. That is history, sir. We all know that the holy wars to them as to the Templars were largely a matter of loot. Well, now the Emperor Charles has given them Malta, and all the rent he asks is one insignificant bird per annum, just as a matter of form. Well, what could be more natural than they tried to find some means of expressing their gratitude? Well, sir, that is exactly what they did. And they hit on the happy thought of sending Charles for his first year's tribute, not an insignificant live falcon, but a glorious golden falcon, encrusted from head to foot with the finest jewels in their coffers. And remember, sir, they had fine ones, the finest out of Asia. So what do you think of that?
I don't know.
These are facts, sir. Historical facts, not schoolbook history. No, Mr. Wells is history. History, nevertheless. Well, sir, the glorious Falcon never reached Spain. Buccaneers raided the galleon that was carrying it. In 1713, the bird showed up in Sicily. In 1841, Paris. Had by that time acquired a coat black enamel and looked like nothing more than a very interesting black statuette. And in that disguise, sir, it was, you might say, kicked around Paris for 70 years by private owners and dealers too stupid to see what it was under the skin. 70 years, this marvelous item was, you might say, a football in the gutters of Paris. Until 1911, a Greek dealer named Kalilaus Constantinides found it in an obscure shop. Didn't take Kalilaus long to learn what it was and to acquire it. No thickness of enamel could conceal value from his eyes and nose. The Greek was murdered. Art was stolen. I guess that I was wild. That was 20 years ago. It's taken me 20 years to locate the bird, but I did it. I wanted it, and I'm a man who's not easily discouraged when he wants something. I wanted it, and I found it. I wanted it. And I'm going to have it. I traced it to the home of a Russian general, one Kemidov, a Constantinople suburb. He didn't know a thing about it. It was only a black enamel figure to him, but his natural contrariness, the natural contrariness of a Russian general, kept him from selling it to me when I made him an offer. So I sent some agents to get it. Yes, sir. They got it. And I haven't got it. But I'm going to.
And the Falcon doesn't belong to any of you but to a General Kemidov.
It belongs. Well, you might say it belongs to the King of Spain, but I don't see how you could honestly grant anybody else clear title to it, except by right of possession. An article of that value that is passed from hand to hand by such means is clearly the property of whoever can get hold of it.
So it's Mr. O'Shaughnessy's now?
No, sir, except it's my agent.
Oh?
There's no doubt that she's got it.
Not much.
Where?
I can't hardly say.
You said you did.
What I mean was I knew what to get it when the time comes.
You do?
Yes.
Where?
Leave that to me.
When?
When I'm ready.
Please, where is Miss O'Shaughnessy now?
In my hand, safely tucked away.
Let's keep her there. No, sir. Before we discuss price, answer me this. How soon can you, or how soon are you willing to produce the Falcon?
A couple of days.
It'll be satisfactory. Don't forget our nourishment. Here's to a fair bargain. And profits large enough for both of us.
What's your idea of a fair profit?
What would you say, sir? $500,000.
Hell of a lot of dough.
It's a hell of a lot of dough. Damn you! Here, man.
Coming around the corner from the elevator at a few minutes past 6 in the morning, I saw a yellow light glowing through the frosted glass of my office door. Effie sat asleep with her head in her forearm on her desk. She stirred, raised her head drowsily, and her eyelids fluttered.
So, you finally got back. Sam, what time is it?
6 o'clock. What are you doing here?
Well, you told me to stay till you got back a phone.
Oh, so you're the sister of the boy who stood on the burning deck.
Well, I wasn't going to... Oh, Sam, your head! Oh, what happened?
I don't know whether I fell or was slugged.
Oh.
I went visiting with spared knockout drops and woke up 12 hours later spread out on a man's floor.
Oh, Sam, oh, it's
terrible. You gotta see a doctor, Sam. You can't walk around with a head like that.
I don't think it's as bad as all that, except for the headache, and that's probably most of the drop. Well, anything happened after I left?
Did you find Miss O'Shaughnessy, Sam?
Not yet. Anything happened after I left?
Well, yeah, a boy came by with a message, said Mr. Gutman would like to see you before 5:30.
I got that. I met the boy downstairs. Talking to Gutman got me this.
Is that the G who phoned, Sam?
Yeah.
And what does this have to do with
He wants something he thinks I can find. I persuaded him that I could keep him from getting it if he didn't make a deal with me before 5:30.
Yeah.
And then, it was after I told him he'd have to wait a couple of days that he fed me the knockout jump. It's not likely he thought I'd die. He must have known I'd be up and about in 10 or 12 hours. So the answer must be that he thought he could get it without my help if I would speak where I couldn't butt in. I hope he was wrong. You didn't hear from the O'Shaughnessy.
Has this got something to do with her?
Something.
You mean this thing he wants, it belongs to her?
The King of Spain.
Oh, Sam.
Well, anything else happened?
Yeah, there was a boat on fire when I was coming back. They were towing it out of the pier and smoke got all over everything.
Did you get close enough to see the name on it?
Oh, yeah, it was La Paloma, the flag.
I'm damned if I know why, sister.
Sam! Oh! Sam! Oh, Sam, is he?
Yeah, it's got half a dozen bullet holes through the chest.
Oh, gee, I'm going to call him out.
Too late for a doctor now. Anyway, I got to have time to think before we do anything. Why couldn't he have stood up long enough to think? Hey, don't get sick on me, sister. Let's see what's in that bundle.
Oh, do you think it is?
We'll soon know. Ha! This is it! We got the damn thing, Angel!
Oh, you're hurting me! Hello? Yes, who? Oh, yes! Hold on! Hello? Oh, it's Miss O'Shaughnessy, Sam. She needs your help. She's at your apartment and in danger. Her voice was, oh, Sam, it was awful, and something happened to her before she could finish. Oh, go help her, Sam.
Well, I've got to take care of this fella first.
Oh, no, Sam, don't you see? He had this thing that was hers, and he was bringing it to you. Oh, gee, Sam, don't you see? He was trying to help her, and they killed him, and now she's... Oh, Sam, you've got to go.
All right.
Do you know who he is?
Well, maybe he was Captain Jacoby, the master of the La Paloma.
Oh, hurry, Sam, hurry.
Sure, I'll hurry. You're a damn good man, sister.
Midnight was a few minutes away when I reached home. Just inside the living room door, fat Gutman sat smiling.
Well, sir, we're all here as you can see for yourself. Come in, sir. Sit down, be comfortable, and we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk. Get away from me. You're not gonna frisk me.
Stand still, shut up!
Get away. Put your hands on me and I'll make you use that gun. Ask your boss if he wants me shot up before we do our talking.
Never mind, well, man. You're certainly a most headstrong individual.
I told you I didn't like that punk. How soon are you willing to give me the money to make the first payment on the Falcon?
Well, sir, that's that.
We were talking about more money than this.
Yes, we were. But we were talking then. This is actual money. Genuine coin of the realm. With $1 of this, you can buy more than $10 to talk. And there are more of us to be taken care of now. And in short, sir, the situation has changed.
Yes. You're together now. But I got the Falcon.
I shouldn't think it would be necessary necessary to remind you, Mr. Spade, that though you may have the Falcon, yet certainly we have you.
I'm trying not to let that worry me. But never mind about that, and we'll come back to the money later. We've got something more important to take care of. The fall guy. The police have got to have a victim. Somebody to hang those 3 murders on.
2! Only 2 murders, Mr. Spade. Thursby undoubtedly killed your partner.
All right, 2. What difference does that make? Anyway, we've got to have a victim. The police have got to have...
we've seen and heard of you, sir. We won't have to bother ourselves about that. We can leave the handling of the police to you, all right. You won't need any of our inexpert help.
Well, if that's what you think, you haven't seen or heard enough.
Come now, Mr. Spade, you can't expect us to believe at this late date that you are in the least bit afraid of the police, or that you are somehow not able to handle...
I'm not a damn bit afraid of them, and I know how to handle them. That's what I'm trying to tell you, Gutman. The way to handle them is to give them a victim, somebody to hang the works on.
Well, sir, I grant you that it's one way, but...
But it's the only way.
But surely you can appeal to them.
I can't. I won't. I mean it, Gutman. Listen to me, Gutman. I'm telling you what's best for all of us. And if we don't have the police or fall guys, 10 to 1 that they'll sooner or later stumble on the information about the Falcon. Then you'll have to run for cover no matter where you are. Give them a fall guy that'll in there. Listen, Gutman, we've absolutely got to give them a fall guy. There's no way out. Let's give them a punk. Well, he actually did shoot them both anyway, didn't he? Thursby and Jackowitz. Anyway, he's made to order for it. Let's pin the necessary evidence on him and turn him over to them.
My God, sir. You are a character. That you are. There's never any telling what you're going to do or say next. Except that it's bound to be something astonishing.
There's nothing funny about it. It's our best bet. With him in their hands, the
But
police
my dear sir, can't you see? If I even for a moment thought of doing... That's ridiculous. Why, I feel towards Wilmer just exactly as if he were my own son, I really do. But if I even for a moment thought of doing what you propose, what in the world do you think would keep Wilmer from telling the police every detail about the Falcon and all of us?
If necessary, we could have him killed resisting arrest. But we wouldn't have to go that far. Let him talk his head off. I'll make sure nobody will do any listening to him. That's easy enough to fix.
What do you think about this, Wilmer? It's funny, huh?
You bastard! Let's shoot it out if you've got the guts. I've taken all the riding from you I'm going to take.
Young Wild West. Maybe you ought to tell him that shooting me before you get your hands on the Falcon would be bad for business.
Wilmer, we can't have anything of this sort. You shouldn't allow yourself to attach such importance to things of this sort. You really should.
Well, make him lay off me then. I'm going to fog him if he keeps it up, and there's nothing that's going to keep me from doing it.
No, Wilmer. Your plan is, sir, as I said in the first place, not at all practical. And we'll say no more about it.
I say what I want.
Certainly do. That is one of the things I've admired in you most.
Well, if you don't like that idea, I got another one. It's not as good as the first one, but it's better than nothing. Want to hear it?
What's the shortage?
Give them Cairo.
Do what?
Give the police Cairo. He's not as good as giving the punk. He carries a smaller gun than Thursby and Jacoby were shot with. We'd have to go through more trouble framing him, but it's better than giving them nobody.
You, Mr. Spade. Or Miss O'Shaughnessy, if you're so set upon giving them somebody.
You people want the Falcon, I got it. The fall guy's part of the price I'm asking. As for Miss O'Shaughnessy, well, if you think you can rig her up to fit the part, I'm perfectly willing to discuss it with you.
Seem to forget that you are in no position to insist upon anything.
Now, gentlemen, let's keep our discussion on a friendly basis. However, Mr. Cairo does have a point, Mr. Spade. Perhaps we could find some means of persuading you short of killing you or threatening to kill you.
Sure, but they're not much good unless the threat of death is there to hold the victim down. See what I mean? If you try something I don't like, I won't stand for it. I'll make it a matter of your having to let me go or kill me, knowing that you can't afford to kill me.
See what you mean? That is an attitude, sir, that calls for the most delicate judgment on both sides, because, as you know, a man is likely to forget in the heat of action where his best interests lie and let his emotions carry him away.
Now, that's the trick from my side, to make my play strong enough that it ties your hands, yet not so strong enough that it causes you to buck me off against your better judgment.
My God, you are indeed an amazing person.
2 to 1 there, selling you out, son.
All right.
No, really, no. You big coward! All right, there's our ball guy. But either say yes now, or I'll turn the Falcon and the whole damn lot of you in.
I don't like it, sir.
You won't like it. Well,
You can have it. Sure.
swell. Now, why did he shoot Thursby?
Thursby was a notorious killer. Miss O'Shaughnessy's ally. We knew that removing him in just that way would make her stop and think that perhaps it would be best to patch up her differences with us after all. Besides, leaving her without so violent a protector. You see, I'm being quite candid.
Yes, well, keep it up. And you didn't think he might have the Falcon?
Well, not for a moment. We had the advantage of knowing Miss O'Shaughnessy far too well for that. But we didn't know then that she had given the Falcon to Captain Jacoby to be brought here on the Paloma while they took a faster boat. Still, we didn't think for a minute that if only one of them knew what it was, Thursby was the one.
Yes, well, that sounds all right. Now, Jacoby.
Jacoby's death was Miss O'Shaughnessy's fault.
Never mind about that. Just tell me what happened.
Just as you say, sir. Cairo is a man of nice judgment. The Paloma was his thought. He read the notices of arrivals in the paper that morning and remembered that he had heard in Hong Kong Captain Jacoby and Miss O'Shaughnessy had been seen talking together. Well, sir, when he read the notice of its arrival in the paper, he guessed just what had happened. She had given the bird to Jacoby to be brought here for her. He did not know what it was. He was far too discreet for that. Mr. Cairo, Wilmer and I went to call on Captain Jacoby, and were fortunate enough to arrive while Miss O'Shaughnessy was there. In many ways, the conference was a difficult one. But finally, by midnight, we persuaded Miss O'Shaughnessy to come to terms, or so we thought. We then left the boat and set out for my hotel, where I was to pay Miss O'Shaughnessy and receive the Falcon. Well, sir, en route, Captain Jacoby and the Falcon slipped completely through our fingers. By gad, sir, it was neatly done.
You touched off the boat before you left?
No, sir, not intentionally, though I dare say we, or Wilmer at least, were somehow responsible for the fire. Wilmer had been out looking for the Falcon while the rest of us were talking in the cabin and was no doubt careless with matches.
That's swell. And in case any slip-ups make it necessary to try for Jacoby's murder, we can also hang an arson rap on him.
Well, Wilmer, I'm sorry indeed to lose you. I want you to know I couldn't be fonder of you. If you were my own son. Well, by gad, if you lose a son, it's possible to get another. And there's only one Maltese Falcon. Can you get in now, sir?
Hello, Miss Perrine. Can I speak to Effie, please? Yes, it is. Hello, Effie. I'm sorry to get you up this time of day. Yes. Look, could you bring that bundle over for me? PDQ. Yes, my place. Right. Hustle. Oh, hello, lady. I'm sorry to get you up this time of day.
Oh, Sam, it's not the first time you got me up this late. Is there anything else?
No, thanks.
Okay, bye.
Here you are.
After 20 years. After 20 years.
All right, you hit your little joke. Then tell us about it.
No, Sam, no, that's the
That's it. It was the Russian. I should have known. Fools we thought him. And what fools he's made of us. You botched. You and your stupid attempt to buy it from him. You let him know how valuable it was. And he found out how valuable and made a duplicate for us. No wonder we had so little trouble stealing it. No wonder he was so willing to send me around the world looking for it. Imbecile! You bloated idiot! Oh, no!
How's there? Not a bit of reason for going on like this. Everybody has at times. And I can assure you, this is every bit as severe a blow to me as to anyone else. Yes, sir, there's no doubt about it. That is the Russian's hand. Well, sir, what do you propose? Shall we stand here, shed tears, call each other names? Or shall we go to Constantinople?
You are?
I've wanted that bird for 20 years, and have been after it. If I must spend another year on the quest, well, so that represents an additional expenditure in time of 5%.
Yes, I'll go with you.
Well, sir, I must say, you're a fine lot of thieves.
Well, we've little enough to boast about, and that's a fact, sir. Well, we're none of us dead yet, and there's not a bit of reason for thinking that the world's come to an end just because we've run into a little setback. And in fact, I must ask you for my envelope.
I held up my end. You got your dingus. It's your fault, not mine, that it wasn't the one you wanted.
No, firm, sir, we've all of us failed. And there's not a bit of reason for thinking any one of us should bear the brunt of it. And in fact, sir, I must ask you to return our $10,000.
This will take care of my time and expenses.
Now, sir, it's time for us to say goodbye. Unless, of course, you care to undertake the Constantinople expedition with us. You don't. Mr. Brinkley, I'd like to have you along. You're a man to my liking. A man of many resources and nice judgment. And because you're a man of nice judgment, we know that we can say goodbye with every assurance that you hold the details of our little enterprise in confidence. We know that we can depend on you to appreciate the fact that this situation now stands. If any legal difficulties come to us in connection with the last few days, they will likewise and equally come to you and charming Miss O'Shaughnessy. You're too shrewd a man not to realize that.
I understand that.
I'm sure you would. I'm also sure you now somehow manage the police without a fall guy.
I'll manage all right.
I'm sure you will. Now, sir, the briefest and farewells are the best. Adieu. You, Miss O'Shaughnessy? Adieu. I leave you the rara avis on the table as a little memento.
Hello, it's Sergeant Colehouse there. Would you put me through to him, please? This is Samuel Spade. Hello, Tom. I got something for you. Yeah, plenty. Thursday and Jacoby was shot by a kid named Will McCook. He worked for a man named Casper Gutman. Yeah, that's right. That guy Cairo you met here, he's in on it with him, too. They just left here and they're blowing town, so you have to work fast. Yeah, Gutman's standing at the Alexander, room 12C. Or was. Oh, and watch out when you go up against the kid. He's supposed to be pretty good with the gun. That's right. And I've got some more stuff here for you, too. I think I've got the guns to use. Right. And watch out, Tom. And luck to you. They'll talk when they're nailed about us. We're sitting on dynamite, and we've only got minutes to get ready for the police. Give it to me fast. Gutman sent you and Cairo to Constantinople. Damn you, talk. I'm in this with you, and you're not going to Gutman. He sent you to Constantinople.
Yes, he sent me. I met Joe there and asked him to help me.
You asked Cairo to help you get it from Kemmerdale?
Yes.
For Gutman?
No, not then. We thought we would get it for ourselves.
All right, then.
Then I was afraid that Joe wouldn't play fair with me, so I asked Boyd Thursby to help me.
And he did. Well?
Well, we got it, and we went to Hong Kong.
With Cairo, or had you ditched him before then?
Yes. We left him in Constantinople, in jail. Something about a check.
Something you'd fixed up to hold him there?
Yes.
All right, so you and Thursby in Hong Kong with the bird. What then?
I didn't know him very well. I didn't know whether I could trust him. I thought it would be safer to... Anyway, I met Captain Jacoby, and I knew that his boat was coming here. So I asked him to bring a package for me, and that was the bird. I didn't know whether I could trust Thursby or that Joe or somebody working for Gutman might not be on the boat that we came on, and that seemed the safest plan.
Uh-huh. So you and Thursby caught one of the faster boats over. Then what?
Then I was afraid of Gutman. Oh, I knew that he had people, connections everywhere, and that he would soon know what we had done. I was afraid that he had learned that we had left Hong Kong for San Francisco. He was in New York, and I knew that if he had heard that by cable, he would have had plenty of time to get here by the time we did, or before. He did. I didn't know that then, but I was afraid of it. I had to wait here until Captain Jacoby's boat arrived. I was afraid that Gutman might find me or find Floyd and buy him over. And that's when I came to you to get you to watch him for me.
That's a lie! You had Thursby hooked and you knew it. He was a sucker for women. His record shows that. The only fault he ever took were over women. And once a chump, always a chump. But even if you didn't know his record, you'd know you had him safe. You wanted him out of the way before Jacoby came with a loot. What was your scheme?
I knew that he had left the States with a gambler after some trouble. I didn't know what it was, but I thought that if it was anything serious and he saw a detective watching him, well, he would think that it was the old trouble again and be frightened.
You told him he was being shadowed. Miles had many brains, but he wasn't clumsy enough to be spotted the first night.
I told him. Yes. That night, when we went out for a walk, I pretended to discover Mr. Archer following us and pointed him out to Floyd. But please believe, Sam, I wouldn't have done that if I thought that Floyd would kill him. I thought that he would be frightened into leaving the city. I didn't think for a minute that he would shoot him like that.
Well, if you thought he wouldn't, Angel, you were right. Thursby didn't shoot him. Miles was dumb and quite. He had too many years of experience to let himself be caught like that by a man he was shadowing. Up a blind alley with his gun tucked away in his hip pocket and his overcoat button, not a chance. He was dumb. He was as dumb as a man ought to be, but he wasn't quite that dumb. The only two ways out of that alley could be watched from the edge of Bush Street over the tunnel. You told us Thursby was a bad actor, so he couldn't have tricked Miles into the alley like that, and he couldn't have driven him there. He was dumb, but he wasn't quite dumb enough for that. But he'd have gone up there with you, Angel, if he was sure nobody else was up there. You were his client, so he'd have no reason not dropping the shadow on your say-so. And if you caught up with him and asked him to go up there, he'd have gone. He was just dumb enough for that. He'd have looked you up and down and licked his lips and gone, grinning from ear to ear. And then you could have stood close to him in the dark and put a hole in him with the gun you'd gotten from Thursday that evening.
Don't, Sam. Don't talk to me like that. You know that I didn't. You
Stop
know
it.
that I...
The police will be blowing in here any minute, and we're sitting on dynamite.
Why do you accuse me of such a
Will you
terrible
stop
thing?
it? This isn't the time for the schoolgirl act. Listen to me. The both of us are sitting under the gallows. Talk!
How did you know that he licked his lips and looked at me?
I knew Miles, but never mind that. Why did you shoot him?
I didn't mean to first. I didn't really. I meant what I told you. But when I saw that Boyd couldn't be frightened,
That's a lie. You asked Miles or me to handle it ourselves. You wanted to be sure the shadow was somebody you knew, somebody who knew you, so they'd go with you.
Yes, Sam, that is a lie. I did intend to afford. I can't look at you and tell you this. I knew that Boyd wouldn't be easily frightened. But I thought that if he knew someone was shadowing him, either he... I can't say it, Sam.
You thought Floyd would tackle Miles and one or the other would go down. If Thursby went down, you were rid of him. If it was Miles, you could see that he got caught, and you'd be rid of him, right?
Something like that.
When you found that Miles didn't have any intentions of tackling him, you borrowed the gun and did it yourself, right?
Yes. No, not
Yes, but exact enough. And you had that plan from the very first. You thought Thursby would be nailed.
I thought that they would hold him at least until Captain Jacoby arrived with the Falcon.
And you didn't know then that Gutman was in town hunting you. You didn't know that or you wouldn't have taken your gunman. You knew the Gutman was here as soon as you heard that Miles had been shot. And so you came looking for me, right?
Oh, yes. But oh, sweetheart, it wasn't only that. I would have come back to you sooner or later. From the first instant I saw you, I knew that you...
You angel. Well, if you get a good break, you'll be out of San Quentin in 20 years, and you can come back to me then. I hope to God they don't hang you, precious, by that sweet neck.
Not.
I'm going to send you over. You'll probably get life, which means you'll be out in 20 years. You're an angel. I'll wait for you. If they hang you, I'll always remember you.
Don't say that, even in fun. You really frightened me there for a minute. I honestly thought... Oh, you know how you always say such wild and unpredictable things. What?
Don't be silly. You're taking a fall. One of us has got to. After the talking those birds will do, they'd hang me sure. You're liable to get a better break.
Oh, but you can't. Not after what we've been to each other. You can't.
Like hell I can't.
You've been playing with me. Only pretending to care just to trap me. You didn't care at all. You don't love me.
I think I do. What of it? I'm not Thursby. I'm not Jacoby. I won't play the step for you.
It's unjust. It's unfair. It's contemptible of you. You know it wasn't like that. You can't say that.
Like hell I can't.
No.
You came into my bed to stop me from asking questions. You led me away yesterday for Gutman with that phony phone call for help. You came here with him. You were in my arms when the trap was sprung. I couldn't have gone for my gun if I'd had one on me. I couldn't have made a fight of it if I'd wanted to. And if they didn't take you away with them when they left, it's only because Gutman's got too much sense to trust you for more than a little while. Because he thought I'd play the sack for you. And not wanting to hurt you wouldn't be able to hurt him.
You called me a liar. Now you're lying. You're lying if you say that you don't know down in your heart that in spite of anything I've done, I love you.
Maybe I do. Whatever. I should trust you who planned that nice little trap for my predecessor, Thursby. You who killed Miles, a man you had nothing against, in cold blood, just like swatting a fly. You who double-crossed Gutman, Cairo, Thursby, 1, 2, 3. You who never played square with me for 1/2 hour since I've known you. I should trust you? No, darling. I wouldn't. Why should I?
If you've been playing with me, if you do not love me, there is no answer to that. If you did, no answer would be needed.
Making speeches is no damn good now. I don't care who loves who. I'm not going to play the staff for you. I won't walk in Thursday, and God knows who else's footsteps. You killed Miles, and you're going over for it. I could have helped you by letting the others go and standing out the police the best way I could. It's too late for that now. I can't help you now. And I wouldn't if I could.
Don't help me then, but don't hurt me. Let me go away now.
No! I'm sunk if I haven't got you to give to the police when they come. That's the only thing that's keeping me from going down with the others.
You won't do that for me.
I won't play the staff for you.
Don't say that, please. Sam, why must you do this? Surely Mr. Archer wasn't as much to you as...
Miles. Miles was a laugh. I found that out the first week we were in business together. I meant to kick him out as soon as the year was up. You didn't do me one damn bit of harm by killing Miles.
What?
Listen, you'll never understand me, but we'll give it one more try, and then we'll give it up. Listen. When a man's partner is killed, he's supposed to do something about it. It doesn't make any difference what you thought about him. He was your partner, and you're supposed to do something about it. Well, then it happens we're in the detective business. And when one of your organizations gets killed, it's bad business to let the killer get away with it. Bad all around. Bad for that one organization. Bad for every detective everywhere. Third, I'm a detective, and expecting me to run down criminals and then let them go free is like asking a dog to track down rabbits and then let them go. It can't be done. Sometimes it is done, but it isn't the natural thing. The only way I could have let you go is by...
You're not serious. Surely you don't expect me to believe
Wait till
it.
I'm through, then you can talk. Next. through now. It would be absolutely impossible for me to let you go without having myself dragged through the gallows with the others. Next, I've no reason in God's earth to think I can trust you. And if I did this and got away with it, you'd have something you could use against me whenever you'd have a mind to. That's 5 of them. The 6th would be this. Since I've got something on you, I couldn't be sure you wouldn't decide to shoot me someday. And 7th, I don't even like the idea of thinking that one day you'd play me for a sucker. And 8th, but that's enough. All those on one side. True, some of them may be unimportant. I won't argue that with you, but look at the number of them. And let's see what we've got on the other side. We got the fact that maybe you love me, and maybe I love you.
You know whether you do or not.
I don't. It's easy enough to be nuts about you, but I don't know what that amounts to. Does anybody ever? What if I do? Maybe next month I won't. I've been through it before when it lasted that long. What then? Then I think I played the step. And if I did it and got sent over for it, I'd be sure I was the step. Well, if I sent you over, I'd be sorry as hell. I'd have a few rough nights, but that'll pass. Listen, if that doesn't mean anything to you, forget it, and we'll make it this. I won't, because all of me wants to say the hell with the consequences and do it. And because goddamn you counted on that from me, just like you counted on that from the others.
Please, tell me the truth. Would you have done this to me if the Falcon had been real and you'd been paid your money?
What difference does that make now? Don't be so sure I'm as quick as I'm supposed to be. That kind of reputation might be good for business, bringing in high-priced jobs and making it easier to deal with the enemy. Well, a lot of money would have been at least one more item on the other side of the scale.
If you loved me, you need nothing more on that side.
I won't play the sap for you. Oh, hello, Tom. Catch him? Got him. Here's another one for you. She shot Miles. And here's the gun the kid used. Oh, yeah, and here's the black statuette that all the hell was about. And a $1,000 bill that I was supposed to be bribed with. What's the matter with your playmate, Tom? He looks heartbroken. I bet after he heard Gutman's story, he thought he had me sure.
Cut it out, Sam. We never thought.
Sure he did. Look at him. He came in here with his mouth watering. I thought you'd have sense enough to know I'd be stringing Gutman.
Cut it out, Sam. Anyways, we got it from Cairo. Gutman's dead. The kid just finished shooting him up when we got there.
Yeah, he ought to have expected that.
You did that, Sam. You did that to her.
Sam, the detective, sweetheart. She killed Miles, ain't you? Off hands like that.
Don't. Please. Don't touch me. Well, I know. You're right. I know you're right, but don't touch me now. Not now.